What's up, guys? Welcome. Today we have the most funny person on the internet and soon to be the television. I'm talking, of course, about Grace Helbig!
That is a very lofty introduction.
Yeah, I was just trying to give you really, really high expectations.
I know.
To make you as nervous as possible for the rest of the video.
Guys, please set the bar a little bit lower.
So, Grace, as you hopefully already know, has an awesome book. I have read it. I don't know if I've ever encountered a person who has as much fear of spontaneous diarrhea as I do.
Okay, good!
Yeah. I kind of thought I was maybe the only one.
I literally, as an adult, it's one of those things where you just kind of resign yourself to, this is how bodies work, I guess.
Yeah.
But most rational people would investigate and find out, what food they're allergic to and find out, how to make their system more regular.
Yeah.
And because I've had that very abnormal job and I've worked from home for so long, I've felt no real need to really investigate. I've just been it just happens. I don't know. It's a Pandora's box down there, and who knows when it's going to happen at the wrong time.
It's a really major theme throughout the book.
I know. And I'm sure you're familiar with this. When you write a book, you learn a lot about yourself.
Yeah.
And I really learned, because I wrote chapters, I didn't know what order they were going to be in this book, so I was just kind of writing chapters when I felt inspired to write that chapter, and I would send it to my editor. And my editor was like, you have diarrhea written in here 11 times, and I'm only going to allow you 4. So you have to think of other ways to describe this. And I was like, oh, what does this say about me as a human and what I think about and how I relate to things?
So it seems like there's a lot of books right now. It's sort of a trendy thing for comedians, female comedians especially, to write these memoir/essay books.
Yeah.
I would expect that maybe there was a lot of people that were thinking or hoping you would do that.
Yeah.
Why an advice book? I mean, it's a funny advice book, but it's an advice book.
When I went around pitching a book, I made it very clear I wasn't going to write a memoir. One, I just haven't lived that fantastical of a life that would require a memoir to remember all of it. And most of the interesting stories I have from my life, I have said online. That I got obsessed with self-help books after I graduated college, and I was just reading all these things and thinking, oh, this is helpful, I think. But actually, in hindsight, this is not relatable at all. This is very generic advice about things and very similarly packaged advice from other self-help books. So I really just wanted to make a self-help book that was apologizing outright, that didn't have all the answers. And that the person that wrote it is completely imperfect.
You mentioned being an introvert, and you talked a lot about that in the book.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering, I think that's a pretty common trait for comedians and performers.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't realize that. In talking so much about that in the book, have you found, or have people responded being but Grace, you're you talk on the internet, you're so expressive,
right.
You're not an introvert.
Well, no, doing this book, I really found the definition of being an introvert. I, for so long, thought it was a negative. I thought I should want to be the life of the party. I should want to have a social life. I should want to have a million friends. And that just made me so stressed.
Yeah.
And I realized that being an introvert doesn't mean you're not social.
Yeah.
It just means that your energy drains when you're social.
Yeah.
And so you like a balance of being by yourself and having quieter moments to yourself. It doesn't mean you can't go to that party or you can't have friends or you can't do anything that's in the real world. It just means that you don't derive energy from it. That's why one of my favorite chapters in there is how to hang out by yourself.
Yeah.
Because I think it's important to do
she has
that.
an amazing amount of plans. You could tell she's done a lot of hanging out by herself.
I've done it a lot.
She's here's all these things you can do by yourself.
Yeah, finally I can tell people.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I'm not in high school right now.
Yeah.
With the way the digital world works and with social media in general, I feel like it'd be so much more pressure to be. Now you can quantify how many people like you based on seeing numbers of how many people like you or your
constantly.
photo.
To the minute.
It stresses me out just for them. I'm oh my God. And so you're fed this idea that you're supposed to have a bunch of friends and a bunch of people just engaging with you and loving you and being around you all the time. And it's not, you don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've found that a couple great friends completely outweighs a lot of sort of friends.
Huh? Yeah. That's deep.
Hey! Oh no, this got deep!
Yeah. We got sincerity from Grace. Mission accomplished. Let's end by talking about one of the big things that's next for you.
Yeah.
The TV show. What can you tell us about the show?
I really wanted to keep the same tone and the same like silliness that the YouTube videos I make have. I keep calling it an introvert's talk show. It's
Nice.
a talk show that happens in my house, and the guests come to me, and it's for the people that don't want to go out on a Friday night. They can stay in and hang out with me and my friends in my house. I just wanted to feel laid back and feel really accessible. And I'm going to vlog it. I'm going to put like as much as I can on YouTube behind the scenes.
Oh, that's sweet.
I really want everyone on the crew like totally involved in social media. I really want everyone to be able to see the show front to back to back. But I want the audience to be as engaged in a television show as they are with a YouTube video.
Yeah.
And it's a lofty goal, but everyone that's involved is so positive about it that here's hoping. I just want to make something that seems not awful. And that'll be a total success for me.
Well, we've been talking today with Grace. Grace, can you tell us where can we find your channel, where can we find the book, and where can we find True Happiness?
My channel, youtube.com/It's Grace. The book, gracesguidebook.com. True Happiness Within Yourself.
There you have it.
AMPUTEE